Hello, you are welcome to my study Pashala. I am Nilanjana Sharka, wishing a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Just take it according to yourself, and I hope all you are safe and healthy. You are taking care of yourself as well as your family. And with a lots of energy and smile, let's get back to today's class. So today's class will be on genetics, and this class is just an introductory class on genetics. In this class we will learn or we'll gain some basic knowledges regarding genetics, and this basic knowledge should be very much neat and clean in our mind to get our upcoming genetics classes in a clear way. Okay, so let's start. First is genetics. We all know what is genetics, right? Genetics is the study of the genes or any kind of characteristics regarding genes, genetic variations, heredity in organisms, and it is the branch of the biological science. So here three terminologies are new. These are gene, genetic variations, and heredity. So first we will know about heredity. Heredity is the characteristics or the traits which can be transmittable from one generation to another. These facts, that means the transmission of the characteristics from generation after to generation, is known as the heredity. As you can see in this figure, it is a carrier female. Any kind of disease might she carry, and from this individual the disease passes through generation after to generation. For say she is carrier about one kind of disease, and her daughter is also carrier of this disease, and her son is affected with this disease. And for say this is generation 1, this is generation 2, generation 3, generation 4. So this characteristics passes from generation 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on. This is called heredity, and this is the figure 2, which states that this is unaffected father. That means he is not affected, but he carries the genes related to a particular disease, and she is unaffected carrier mother. That means she is also unaffected but carries the particular genes regarding to a particular disease, and their offsprings might be unaffected if the individual gets the unaffected genes from his or her father and mother. Then the individual will be unaffected, and might be unaffected carrier as well when the individuals get one disease-free chromosome from any of the parent and one diseased chromosome from any of the parent. Then the individuals will be unaffected carrier, and it might be also affected carrier when this individual gets its chromosome sets from their parents and the chromosome sets are totally diseased. Then the individual will be affected, and the probability is in this case unaffected child will be 1/4, unaffected carrier child will be half, and affected child will be 1/4 again. So this is the heredity. Next is characteristics or traits. These are the observable attributes. For say a human might be tall or short. That means we can say that she or he is tall or he or she is dwarf. That means we can differentiate the characteristics between them. This is known as characteristics, and these characteristics are the result of the phenotype. Phenotype is the expression of the genotype. Okay, for say a phenotype is height. Height may be either tall or dwarf. So the phenotype height has variations or differentiation, right? These differences or these differentiations are known as the variations, and variations are observed for a particular trait among individuals of a same species. For say we are humans. Humans show many variations among individuals within the same species. For say humans belong to Asian countries or mainly India, they have slightly or moderately melanin pigmentation synthesis. But those who belong from European countries or Western countries, they show very less melanin pigmentation or melanin synthesis procedure, and those who belong from Africa shows high melanin pigmentation. So these are the variations. Okay, and these variations occur or we can see these variations in case of phenotype. And this kind of variations or this kind of phenotype, different phenotypes we can observe because of the environmental effects on genotype as well. So the phenotype is the combined effect of the genotype and the environment. So next term is genotype. What is genotype? Genotype is the collection of a gene or collection of genes in any individual, and gene mainly shows two alleles which is inherited from one generation to another, and gene also can be multiple allelic. We will see in this case gene is multiple allelic. That means gene shows alleles more than two. As you can see, one allele is IA, second one is IB, and third one is small I, or it can be denoted as I0. So IAIA, it is the genotype, or IAI, it shows the phenotype, that is the blood group A. When the genotype is IBIB or IBI, then the phenotype will be type B. And if the genotype is II or I0, it shows type O blood group. And when the genotype is IAIB, then the phenotype will be AB blood group. This is how the genotype and phenotype are related with each other. Genotype means the gene or the total setup of gene in any individual, and gene encoded by DNA. DNA gives result RNA by transcription, and from RNA proteins will be translated, and from proteins sugars, nucleotides, amino acids, lipids can be metabolized, and this kind of metabolites can result the phenotype of any organisms. So this is how the genotype and phenotype work. So next is gene. What is gene? Gene is the unit of the heredity. It is physical as well as functional unit of the heredity, and it is made up of DNA, and it can transmit the genetic messages from one generation to another. That means the genetic messages are encoded by genes, right? As you can see in this diagram, these are homologous chromosome. It shows tall gene. It also shows tall genes. That means these are two alleles of specific gene that is for height, and these two alleles give result to tallness of any individual. That means allele is the variations or the alternative forms of any gene. Alleles might be two or more than two also. Next term is locus. Locus means a position. So the position is what for? Position is for a specific allele. That means if we consider about this allele, that means wrinkled allele occupies this position on this chromosome. So this is the locus for the wrinkled allele on this chromosome. Alright, next is dominant allele and recessive allele. Dominant means one who can express itself in any way. That means if we consider about a particular genotype, that is capital T, small t. Okay, we always denote dominant allele in a capital form. That means here capital T is dominant allele and small t is recessive allele. We will know what is recessive allele. First we will know about dominant allele. So here T will express itself in any condition. Conditions may be either in presence of small t or in absence of small t. That means presence or absence of the small t cannot differ the expression of the capital T. This is how dominant allele works, and dominant allele can express itself either homozygous condition or heterozygous condition. This is heterozygous condition. Homozygous conditions means capital T, capital. Okay. Next is recessive allele. I have already told that small t is recessive one. That means here recessive allele cannot express itself in the presence of the dominant allele, which is capital T. It can express itself only if it is in homozygous recessive condition. That means small t, small t. It cannot express itself in this condition, that is the heterozygous condition. Okay. Next is wild type allele and mutant allele. Wild type allele is the allele which is generally present in a given population or in a particular population. It has the capacity or it has the potency to encode proteins, and these proteins are functional and they can produce the proteins in an exact amount as well. But mutant alleles are produced by the alteration of the wild type alleles, and they cannot show the protein functioning like the wild type alleles. Either they show a reduction in the functioning of the alleles, or they cannot show any kind of work or any kind of function of the alleles. And mutant alleles present in 1% in a population, while wild type alleles present up to 99% in a given population. In this figure, these are wild type alleles and these are mutant alleles. As you can see, you can also differ the images among the wild type characteristics and the mutant type characteristics. This fly show this kind of antenna, while this fly show a short or reduced kind of antenna. That means wild type shows functional antenna, while mutant show a reduction in the antenna function. In this fly, the wings are functional because this is almost in exact size to be functional, but these wings are so much short in size to be functional. So this kind of variations we can see in wild type alleles and mutant alleles as well. Next is homozygous condition and heterozygous condition. If we split this word, that is homozygote, that means homo plus zygote. Zygote means a diploid individual, homo means alike or same. That means zygote means two genes in this case. So here two alleles will be in same nature. Either it can capital T or small t small t. This condition is known as homozygous condition. Now, if the alleles are capital T, that means both the alleles are in dominant form. This condition is known as homozygous dominant. And if the alleles are in recessive condition, this will be known as homozygous recessive condition. And what is heterozygous condition? If the individuals contain two non-identical alleles, that means one is capital and second one is small. That means one is dominant and other one is recessive. This condition is known as heterozygote condition. Okay, in this figure, this is heterozygous condition. This is again heterozygous condition. After crossing these two heterozygous condition, we will get one homozygous dominant condition, two heterozygous condition, and one homozygous recessive condition. Okay. Next terminologies are parental generation, filial generation, and Punnett square. Parental generation means this is the first generation in a scientific study. Here two individuals are selected to be mated to analyze the genotypes of their offspring. In this diagram, these are parental generation individual. As you can see, it is written here as well. And here individuals mainly taken from different genotypes. For say, it is capital T, it is capital W and it is small w. Capital W for white, while small w for red, right? After this generation, we will get first filial generation. So what is the meaning of the filial? Filial means the offspring, which is denoted as F1, F2 and so on. And these are the successive generations after the parental generations. And they are hybrid, which is resulting from the controlled mating. And this kind of controlled mating occurred through a scientific purposes. Next one is Punnett square. It is named after a scientist, Reginald C. Punnett, and it is a square diagram and it is very much used to predict the genotypes for upcoming offsprings or upcoming filials, and it can also determine the probability of the offspring for a particular genotype as well. For say, this is F1 generation and capital W and small w, after cross we can get capital W, small w heterozygous condition, and all offsprings will be in heterozygous condition. Now, if this F1 generation is self-fertilized or self-crossed with each other, then we will get, for say, it is small w, it is capital W, it is small w, it is capital W. Then it will be small w, it will be again small w, it will be again small w, and it will be capital W, small w, it will be capital W, small w, and it will be capital W. So this is for white coloration, this is for red coloration, and this is for red coloration as well. So Punnett square is very much useful to determine the probability of the upcoming offsprings for a particular genotype. So next one is self-fertilization, cross-fertilization, and true breeding. What is the meaning of the self-fertilization? Self-fertilization means fertilization occurs by itself. Itself means, if we consider about this plant shows the gametes from this flower. One is male gamete and other one is female gamete fused to form a diploid body. It is called as self-fertilization. That means the male and the female gametes produced by a specific individual, and fusion of these male and female gametes known as self-fertilization, and it is found mainly in case of bisexual organisms. Now, what is cross-fertilization? It is mainly found in unisexual organisms, but it is also found in case of bisexual organisms. And in this case, if we consider about this figure, this is a plant, it is for say 2 and it is 1. One plant show flower, and this flower produces a female gamete, right? And this female gamete, if fused with the male gamete from the second plant, it is known as cross-fertilization. Again, a female gamete from another flower of the second plant body is fused with the male gamete of another flower of the second plant body, and the fusion of these gametes is known as again cross-fertilization. That means cross-fertilization will occur when two separate flowers produce the gametes. Okay, now is true breeding. True breeding is the production of the homozygous condition by repeated cell pollination, and this repetition of the cell pollination will be in a controlled way. That means, if we consider that capital R smaller is selfed with capital R smaller in generation 1, it will produce capital R, capital R, capital R smaller, capital R smaller, and smaller. It is the second generation. These generations or these individuals of these generations will be again crossed within them to produce next generation, and then they will show the true breeding concept. So I hope this introductory session is helpful for you. Thank you for watching this video. If this video is helpful for you to recapitulate the previously gained knowledge, then you can like this video, share this video with your family, friends, and so on, and don't forget to subscribe this channel. So till then, be safe and be healthy. Bye bye.